G'day folks, well a minor miracle has occurred. This is the Skewby Rhombic and it turns. So this was one of a number of puzzles that I unboxed recently which basically did not turn. This came from Chewy's Puzzles and you can have a look at the unboxing there if you've not seen it already. But in this puzzle, about the only turns that happened were these kind of skewed turns, and they certainly weren't as smooth as that. Even that's still catching a little bit, but you know what, it turns. What wasn't happening is turns like these. And so I'm just going to do a few of them. You can see I have actually managed to get it turning. You may be asking, how did I do that? You may also be asking, is it actually turning that well? You can see, no, it's still not fantastic, but it's enough to be able to play with the puzzle. How I did it was that, look, let's just be honest, I must be a genius. That's all I can say. I did use a little bit of lube. I did destroy my wrist. A lot of times still you'd have things like this where, and it seems like it's not too bad now as I'm turning it, but I've found that when I scramble it, for some reason, it doesn't quite, these faces don't quite turn as well. Now, I also have to say, in fairness, that this puzzle exploded as well. And I had to completely reassemble it from scratch. To my shock, I actually managed to do it. And I think it actually turns better now than it did beforehand. So I'm not sure if there was something where it just wasn't properly assembled somehow. I just really don't know. A lot of this puzzle is a mystery. But now I've talked all about that, I want to talk about the puzzle as a puzzle. This should be mass produced. This is an amazing puzzle. And one of the reasons I'm so excited to be doing this video is not only, hey, look, I got a puzzle that didn't turn and it turns, but this is such a great solving experience. It absolutely, for me, falls into that just right category. It's got a lot of different things going on. In this video, I'm not even going to jumble it. I'm going to save that for a different video, which I'm really looking forward to doing. But you'll see in this video, there's absolutely enough going on without the jumbling. It doesn't have huge long stretches of doing 500 of the same thing. And you can still use a jumbling move to solve a non-jumbling scramble. Great puzzle. As I said, I would love it if this was mass produced. I don't know off the top of my head who designed this, but absolutely brilliant job in the actual puzzle. So as I start scrambling it, I just want to say, well, what is the difference between the jumbling and the not jumbling? Well, obviously any skewed turn that is 120 degrees, it's not jumbled. But if I was just to do a turn like that, you can see that I can actually start turning things. Well, that's a jumbling move of some kind because I don't have these skewed lines matching up like that. I'm certainly calling it a jumbling move. In terms of what's an obvious jumbling move, you would say, well, it's something like that where things are really sticking out quite obviously. So there's jumbling moves like that. There's jumbling moves in my mind like this, and you can kind of go, oh, well, that's interesting because now I've got matched little edge parts and these bits are matched as well. I can turn that off and then presumably start turning them around and, can I turn that? Not quite, because I'd have to do something else. So I'm really looking forward to getting into that when I do a jumbling solve and scramble. But for now, I'm just going to get this scrambled without jumbling, and that entails turning these outer faces. And I will say again, they are still a little bit thin. So I've figured out a way of not destroying my fingers while I turn them. If it was going to be mass produced, that would be one thing I'd say, try and get them a little bit thicker, these layers. I'm not even sure if that's possible. When I'm scrambling it, I'm just attempting to get things where they don't belong. So it's not always as easy as it sounds to do. You can clearly see here there's stuff that needs to be taken care of. But a lot of times things will come back in. I'm just going to stop talking. You will be remarking on the fact that this is actually turning, and it certainly wasn't doing that in the unboxing video. All right, so I'm going to take you on a bit of a walkthrough solve here, and you can see that not everything looks exactly not where it should be, but it is really difficult to get that to happen. You turn one thing away and something else lands there. But overall, this is a pretty good scramble for a non-jumbling scramble. So when I was looking at this and figuring it out, I was going, well, what sort of piece types are there? Do I have a center? No, I don't. That's the first thing, because these faces here, you can kind of see there's a hidden center sitting in there, which we can't see at all. So there's no fixed center. So we're going to have to be guided by the colors with the corners. That's okay. We've encountered that before. I do obviously have the skewb turns, which is an interesting thing, because what that allows is to take these pieces here, these sort of edgy type pieces, out of the orbit that they would naturally be in. So what I mean by that is, at the moment, this piece here is in this orbit. It can travel around like that. But if I was to turn a skewb turn to take this one over, let's say to here, it's now landed in a different orbit. So you can accomplish something there as if it had been jumbled across. So the one of the things that I found really cool about this was that in my first solve, I had everything that can happen. In other words, I got to the corners and I had two swapped corners, and I had to go, how do I deal with that? That fortunately is not very hard. But then I just about had them solved, and I realized I had a single twisted corner, which was very cool. And I was like, how do I deal with that? And I initially wasn't overly sure, but ended up trying something. The thing about that is that if you leave it till the end, it's an awful lot of work to get it re-solved. It's almost like, it's not quite this, but it's like doing the solve all over again. And because of that, I want to fix any single twisted corner somewhere near the beginning. Now, it doesn't have to be right at the beginning. I tend to do it after the first little stage. So, enough talk. What's the first stage? Well, you'll notice that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piece types here. I've got these large diamonds in the middle, if you kind of call this a big center. The small diamonds there. I've got corners, obviously. I've got these sort of triangular-y pieces, and I've got these 2 color pieces here. I guess I'm calling those together a reduced edge, and that's an edge base, and that's just, well, I don't know what that is. But in any event, as I started solving it, I went, well, I'm going to try and get the centers first. So the easiest way here is to get these large diamonds first. Initially, I just want to choose a face which has a white. I'm going to start with the whites and find the other white and put it on. Now, it's not necessarily as easy as that, because you can see that if I put it there, well, that's clearly not correct. It's in a jumbled sort of state. So I've got to just sort of move this white maybe around to a different place. That will do. And sometimes I end up turning it twice the other way, just from it being a little bit catchy. But that's now become my white center. Now, it just so happens here, you can see that that corner is exactly, I guess, where I want it. So I would just look for any white corner. There's only 2 of them, one here, one here. This happens to be white, green, purple. So I'm going to say this would become my green corner, my dark green, or sorry, face. So next thing, I can just move that up and turn its face like that. So I want to keep the whites that I've done. This one here, I'm just looking to see, where is it sensible? Okay, it's sensible to turn this over to here first, which can then be turned to there. So I'm always trying to do these 120-degree turns. Some of these are still stiff, so I don't want to give the impression that this puzzle now turns amazingly. It doesn't, but it does actually turn. Right, where were we? White, green, purple is this one. I can see there's a purple here. Now, it wouldn't make sense to turn it there. Might make sense to turn it here. And I can just use those sort of 4-turn moves in the same way as I would be solving centers on, I don't know, say a 4x4 cube or something. Okay, this purple, I'll also push the one in there out the way, turn that face, push it back. So if I look now, I've got white, green, purple. That's good. What I generally tend to do is do all of the first half of the puzzle. If I look at this sort of as, I guess if you like, the top, there's sort of 3 on the top. If I'm turning like that, there's my top layer. So I've got these 3 faces on the top. I've got to get the other ones here as well. Let's have a look at what we've got. To look at the next sort of faces, I've got a purple here. So I want to find a purple corner. Now I know it's not purple, white, green because I've already used that. So it's the other purple corner, which would be there. Okay, purple, orange, pale yellow. So that tells me that that's got to be orange, that's got to be pale yellow. There's a pale yellow on there already. Let's see if I can get this other pale yellow over there. And to do that, yeah, I'd probably initially turn it down, and it's knocked out the purple, but I'm going to put that back in a minute. Turn it up to its correct face, and then return it, and then turn that purple back into position. Now what's happened here? Oh, if I turn the wrong, potentially turn the wrong face there. Where is the other white? Oh, there it is. Ah, that's better. I just turned that the wrong way. Okay, so I've still got the white, green, purple, no problem. That was going to be purple, orange, pale yellow, which is good. I will say that once all these centers are in, it's much easier to keep track of what's where. It's just initially, like you saw there, it's kind of like, oh, hang on, where was I turning? Well, that's it. So this has got to be orange. Now there's an orange that I can just turn up and place to that position, and the other orange is beautifully positioned there. Okay. So again, if that's my top, I've got those 2 done. Let's have a look over here. What's the other white one? White, purple, green, and white. Okay, white, blue, red, going clockwise. So that must be blue, that must be red. And of course I'm talking dark blue like this one here. Let's firstly, I'll try and get the dark blue into that face. Now it's not really anywhere near it. So what I'm going to try and do here to keep things sensible is to turn just the bottom now and see if that enables me. Yes, I can get the blue piece up to here, 2 faces away, onto the face where it belongs. Like that. That's going to be red. These aren't helpful at the moment. However, now that has just knocked a purple out. Oh, because I turned that face, and that's what I've always got to remember. If I'm going to turn a face, I've got to turn it back. Where's the other blue? The other blue is there, directly opposite. Now, whichever way I turn it here, it's going to land next to it, I think, at the moment. So what I would then do is try putting it there. Just turn the face, or turn that sort of rhombic face, if you like. Occasionally, it might have to be done in 2 stages, which is sort of annoying, but you know, whatever. I can't see an obvious simple way to do that at the moment. Where I really want it is somewhere like here. Yeah, I might have to actually do this in 2 stages. So the first thing, I'm going to move it to there, and then I'm going to put it to here and then place it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do it with every time I turn a Skewb turn, I'll turn it back. The next thing was that I wanted it over to here. So okay, now we're in a position to place that blue piece onto its correct face. Right, let's just see where we're at. We started with white, green, blue. We got, sorry, white, green, purple. We got purple, orange, pale yellow. Moving along now to the white, blue, red. That's got to be red. There's a red here, which I can temporarily turn to that position and then put it up. And just remember to return that. Now the other red is right next to it. So probably what I would do here, going to turn it like that and then move it over to that position, which means I can now place it on its face. I'll go the long way. Now the only thing is to remember to turn that back. I think that is good. Yep, that's looking great. We've got one more here, which when you get to this point, you can almost basically, because of the color scheme, it's yellow opposite yellow. It's red opposite orange, that sort of thing. So you can use that to take over at this point. Let's have a look. I've got, sometimes I will do the yellow. Now, if I do that, that will end up leaving me how many? I think it's only really 3 faces, but I'm just going to continue in this fashion. So this face is definitely a yellow, so I'll put the dark yellow there first. Okay, then the other yellow. How do I get that to that position? That is what I do. Okay, I will have to temporarily, I think, move it to that purple face. Unless there's another way. It's probably a slightly easier way, which is to, okay, I'm just going to turn it down here to knock out the blue and then put it onto its face and then return that blue. All right, now we're not that far away. Let's see what we've got to do still. That is not correct because that's opposite of white. So that's supposed to be grey. I've clearly got these 3 faces. I've got 4 faces, I think. One, let's turn it up the other way so that it's like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, what I like to try and do here, you can see 2 faces, 1 face. I'd like to leave 2 faces at the end that are opposite each other because it just makes it easy. So these 2 or those 2, doesn't really matter. Which means one of the ones I wouldn't mind doing is the grey, if I can get that done. And in terms of doing that, probably the first one I can do is just to turn the grey to here and then put it into its position. So it's just a matter of doing that skewb turn, remembering what I did, turning that back. And it is fairly easy to turn it back now because you've got to match all the center colors. So that's okay. This next grey, yes, I can turn this across to the red face and then push the first grey out. So that across to there, move it up into its position, down, and then return the red. Just checking, yes, that is the direct opposite color of the white, so that's good. Now, what colors go here? I don't think that's orange. Oh, yes, it is. It is because I did the orange, that's right. So I've still got this one, which is opposite blue. So this is light blue. This happens to be opposite this one, which is the light green. Now, where's the other one that I'm actually missing? This is probably, I wouldn't say it's the hardest part of the solve. It's just sometimes you get lost in the colors. So just bear with me here. That's supposed to be light blue. That's supposed to be light green. And that will be pink. Okay, light blue, light green, pink. So I want the pink to be done next over on this face. Same sort of thing. Let's see if I can firstly turn that pink across to there and put it up onto its face. Turn that back, that's one pink done. There's another pink here. I will turn it to that position. What's the sensible thing? Yes, that one there. Okay, pushing out that pale yellow. Now, with any luck, that will just leave me the light blue and the light green, which looks like they're in, but I don't know if they're in the correct faces. No, they're not. So the light blue is opposite the dark green. The light green is opposite the dark blue. So they've just got to be swapped. But you can see why I saved those last two till the end, because now there's no setups for that really. Let's finish them off. Okay, pretty sure that's good. As a little check, what I will do is just have a look at a few random corners. I'm supposed to have a grey, pink, green. Grey, pink, green, that's good. I should be able to find a light blue, dark green, dark yellow. Yes, okay, that looks good. Now, it's about this time when I'm going to check for my single twisted corner. And the way I'm going to do that is not to try and solve the corners, just to put them in their positions. And I can do that using rhombic turns. So anytime I do a rhombic turn, it doesn't affect what I've done on my centers, which is pretty good. So first thing, let's just go and put the white, purple, green up into its position. What's this one? The other purple one. So I'll just turn that around to there. This one is green, blue, yellow, which is over here, I think. Just move that around. Yep. This one is the white, blue, red, which belongs there. Now that should be all four of the corners on the top. So I'm now going to basically turn it like that. So here's my upper half of the puzzle. Let's see what goes where. Red, yellow, pink. Okay, that's this one. Let's turn around. That's grey, blue, orange, which comes from over here. And this is green, yellow, blue, which is there, which means that's the last one. Now, I just want to go and add up ones and negative ones to see whether I have a twist. So what I'm hoping is for an overall 0 count or a 3 count or a -3 count. Let's have a look. This has been twisted nowhere. So this is correctly oriented as it happens. So I'm on 0 at the moment. I'll have a look at these three now. That is correctly oriented, so still 0. That happens to be correctly oriented. This one, this has been twisted clockwise, so we're on +1. Let's have a look at the other corners. Have a look at this one here. That has been twisted anti-clockwise, so that's a -1. So I'm back to 0. So far so good. I've got these last three corners to check. Anti-clockwise, that's -1. Clockwise, that's 0. And here, this has been twisted clockwise. I'm on a +1. So overall, that tells me that if I didn't change stuff now, I would end up with a single twisted corner at the end. No good. So because I have one corner that's been twisted clockwise, I'd like to twist one corner anti-clockwise. And it doesn't matter which corner. So it could be this one. If I wanted to twist this one, I would just do that. I'll twist this sort of top one, if you like, anti-clockwise. So one turn like that. And I guess you can see why, if you've got pretty much everything else solved, this is going to require a lot of fixing up. So for now, I've twisted that top half, and I've got to say these bottom halves are correct. So that means the light blue, because I twisted it that way, the light blue's gone up here. So I firstly want to replace the light blue. So I'm going to turn that rhombic face, turn it in, put it on. I'll move around this way. That's the yellow. Next one is the red, which is from this side. And I have the dark blue. And the yellow and the orange are therefore done. Now you might think that's good, but if you look here, for example, I've now got blue, yellow, grey. There is no such corner of blue, yellow, grey. If I look for the corner that has blue and pale yellow on it, it's actually blue, yellow, green. What's happened? Well, remember that I turned this like that, so it's actually twisted, or it's moved these three centers around as well. So I now need to replace the green to there, the grey to here, the pink to here. That's not hard, it's just a little bit annoying, but trust me, it's way less annoying than doing it later. So let's say first of all that I want to get the greens over to this grey position. What I would probably do is initially just turn that to there and then replace one of them and turn it back. Always trying to keep my skewb turns done. And I can do precisely the same thing after I do some rhombic turns here to set things up. Turn that green to there. Now turn it onto its face and turn it back. The green should now be correct. I should have a blue, yellow, green corner. Where did it go? Blue, yellow, green. There we go. So that one's good. The other two still need to be swapped. This is supposed to be pink. This is supposed to be grey. So again, if I firstly turn the grey down to there, come on, there we go. I'll do the same for the other grey. And that down to there, replace the one and undo. Now, we'll just check, do I have a light green, grey, pink corner? Light green, grey, pink. Yes, I do. So everything now looks good. So I would potentially do one more check of corners, just a double check. Grey, orange, light blue. Oh, there it is, grey, orange, light blue. So that now has got the centers back, and that they were the only bits that I had to take care of. And I know that I'm not going to run into a single twisted corner at the end of the solve. So what I've got to do from here is now complete the centers. Now this is nearly as simple, but of course, because I've got the corners now, every time I make a skewb turn, I must turn that skewb turn back to keep those correct. And here's how I'm going to do these centers. Just find one that's going to be nice and easy, or where the pieces are set up. Of course, that may not always happen. Here we go. All right, so there's a white piece here, which on a skewb turn will turn down into that position. So what I'm going to do is turn that down with a down, down, up, up. Now, if I just do that, you can see that it has put that piece there, but it has mucked up a lot of other stuff. So what I then want to do is turn the rhombic face just to store it, and then undo what I just did on the skewb turn. So I went down, down, up, up. So now to undo that, I do the opposite, down, down, up, up. And you'll see that all of the centers that we've already done come back to where they are, and that white has now been placed. So the next thing, I would generally go by color if I could. That's again perfectly set up, because the 3 cycle is actually the piece that comes from up here down to this position to here. So I've got a white that's going to go there. This white will go to here. Ideally, I would like this piece to be an orange, but you can't always have what you want. So down, down, up, up. Spin that around, undo, so down, down, up, up. The whites are done. Notice that every time I do a skewb turn, I'm undoing it. And let's just see what would happen if I don't have a piece where I need it. For example, I was trying to find something that's that I can use to help. Probably that. All right, let's say that I wanted to get this light blue into this position. I really want that light blue to be up here. At the moment, it's there. So what I would do is do a skewb turn to set it up and then place it in here. This time I'm turning down that face first. Do my rhombic turn. Now you'll notice I don't need to undo that rhombic turn at all. It's not necessary, but I definitely do need to undo this skewb turn. And again, it's pretty easy to see what's going on because of the colors, but that light blue's done. Really, that's all I'm doing. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, so I'll cut through until a bit later. Now, I've got two pieces to go. I've got the green and the pink to swap. So I would, at this point, I'd say, well, that pink piece can just be turned on the rhombic face up to there. Now that's nicely set up. So I can go ahead and take care of the last one. Of course, I'm not swapping them. I'm really doing a 3 cycle and I'm involving a third piece here. Okay, so that's done. And you can see now that all of the centers are done. So the centers have been reduced, if you like. So the next thing that I want to look at is the reducing these edges. So the edges clearly are made of these triangular pieces and these bases, and I want to reduce them so that they are the same. Now, the way that I found to do it is pretty straightforward, and it just took me a little bit to think about how to set up the pieces to try and get a second piece done. If you're just trying to get one done, it's pretty easy. Let me see if I can find something that is already nicely set up, which is not always as simple as it sounds, because what I'm looking for is in the same orbit, a base, like a purple-orange base and a purple-orange triangle, if you like. Yellow, pink. I don't think I can see anything in there that's ready, so I'll turn to a different orbit, see if there's something in here. Sometimes I'm sure I miss things. White, red, pink. I thought I saw that. I did. There we go. Red, pink. Okay, so I've got a red, pink and a red, pink base. Now, I want them to be positioned one turn away from each other, one skewb turn. So essentially what I'm going to do is really similar to, if you think about a 4x4 cube and you are joining two parts of the edge, you're then taking that reduced edge out onto a different layer and replacing it with something that's not done. Really, that's what I'm doing here. So that's where I started. I'm going to put it over to there, and then to get it to a different layer, I'm actually going to do a skewb turn that moves this down to that position. Now, what I had to think about is if I want to now take this reduced edge out onto a different layer, it's going to go over to here. So it was actually these two pieces that were my options for replacing this edge. So let's come back. I'll put that back. Let's keep an eye on these two pieces, and I'll turn this back to where we started. Okay, so as it turned out, these two pieces here are the ones. So wherever I start my tip, if you like, my edge tip and my edge base, just 90 degrees around from that, there's two pieces on that orbit. They are the two that I'm interested in. So what I thought was, okay, when I do this 3 cycle, that red pink is going to push out the green white. When I'm done, the last turn brings that green white back into this position. So if I could replace the reduced piece with a green white base, I would get a second reduced piece there. So I'd look down here anywhere in this orbit and say, is there a green white base? Oh, look at that. That's a green white base. That is perfect. So I would like that to be in either of these ones here. So let's just say for now, I will turn it down just with very, very simple turns to keep that one where it is, but now I've got the green-white base here. The other option is to say, well, in fact, let's perhaps look at the other option next so we can just concentrate on what happens if I put the base there. So here we go. I'm going to turn this across, theoretically. There we go. I've reduced that. Now I'm going to turn it down to here, and I want to replace it with this piece which has the green-white base. So I can't just turn that over because it's going to keep centers not where they need to be. So I've got to do 4 moves. Whichever 4 moves are sensible to get this one out over here and the one that I want to replace there. Then I undo that skewb turn. Then I undo this skewb turn. Watch the green-white base. That comes back and I've got a second one reduced. So there's 24 of these to do. If I can do 2 at a time, obviously that's going to make it stacks quicker to do. You can see when I'm done, all the centers have come back. It's pretty easy to see what's going on. So that is the general technique that I'm going to use. Now, what do I do if I don't have an edge tip in the correct orbit? So this red-white, well, no, that's not right. There's a couple of options here. Let's have a look at potential options that I could think about. One thing I could do is do a skewb setup turn, or try to do a skewb setup turn to put either the tip or the base into the orbit of the other one. So let's say that I do a skewb turn like that. The red-white is now in the same orbit as here. In fact, it's been turned over to there. The only issue with this is that I've now mucked up these edges, and these are the 2 that are the ones that I have to use. So I would probably go, not sure that I'm thrilled about that. Let's try something else. So here's the other thing that I would try. Could I use a jumbling turn to get this red-white tip into the same orbit as this red-white base? Now I absolutely can. I just have to think through and go, how exactly is it going to work? Here's a good example. I am going to turn this to here. Yes, that's a jumbling turn. I'm then going to turn this one up to the same position there. So notice that the reason I'm turning this one is because it's in the same orbit as that red-white base. So I'm going to put them on that same line. So now I can turn that face and it swaps those 2 pieces. I'll put that back. I'll put that back. My red-white is now in the same orbit as its base. So when I turn that around, that's now nicely set up to go there. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to turn that onto there. These 2 bits are the bits that I'm interested in. What's the first option? Well, it's pushing out a purple-orange piece. So I'd look to see, is there a purple-orange base? Let's pretend that I can't see one because I actually can't. What's the other option if that's the case? Well, what's going to happen is it's coming back to a pink-grey base over here. So if I could replace the piece with a pink-grey tip, then I could get a second one done. So I'm again looking to see in this orbit, is there a pink-grey tip? There's not. And so because of the time it takes to figure this out, I would just go, it's not worth worrying about. I'm just going to go ahead and get one done. So red, white, yeah, there's no pink, grey. Red, white's going to there. That's the only one that I'm going to get done. So if I turn that across and then bring that down, all I care about now is replacing it with either this one or this one. Makes no difference. Again, I don't know why there's so much difficulty suddenly turning this. I feel like it's going to break something, so I'm just going to go the other way if I can, like that. One of the many luxuries of this cube, this puzzle. Turn that back. The problem, of course, with not being able to turn stuff is you very quickly lose track of what you're doing in the actual algorithm. which is no good. Now, what just happened? All the centers are back. There's the red-white piece that I just reduced. So you can see that's done. Maybe I'll do one or two more and then cut through the end. Let's see what we've got. Yellow blue, yellow green. Nothing really in that orbit. Just hunting around here. Orange yellow, did I see? Yes, I did. Okay. Orange yellow, orange yellow. So again, I've got that turning across to there. The first thing I'll look for is that's pushing out a yellow green. Is there in this orbit a yellow green base? So I'll just travel around this orbit. No, there's not. Next thing, I'm coming back to an orange blue base. So is there an orange blue top? No. Okay, so again, I just go, well, that's all I can do. I go ahead, bring that down, replace it with something. Clearly this time I've got those two options. I definitely want to replace it with that one. If I replace it with this one, it'll break it apart. Okay, so we'll do that, undo that Skewb turn, undo the Skewb turn. There's that one that's been reduced. So you can see it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to keep doing that till I've got a couple left. Now down to the last three here, I've got an interesting situation because all three of them are in the same orbit. Kind of normally I suppose that'd be a good thing, but here I need to use a different orbit. So you can see the red blue has got to go to there, the green white has got to go to there, and that orange yellow has got to come back to there. So I just need to choose two of them. They're all two apart. I need to choose two of them and put the other one into an adjoining orbit. So let's say that I get the red blue going to here. Then I want this third piece to be initially in this orbit here. So I've just got to figure out a way to get it into this orbit, whatever makes sense. And what's the simplest thing? It always takes me way longer than it should to think through these sort of things. It would have to go, yeah, that's the orbit. I'm pretty sure it's got to go to this orbit. So if it doesn't, I'll just move it to another one. Turn it up like that, swap those back. Let's just see if I manage to do that correctly. Those two are still where I want them to be. I want the other one to be in here, and I think, yes, I have. Fantastic. So just turn this around until it is in one of these two positions below here. 1, 2, yes, that will work fine. So now, seeing as it's the last two pieces, I know they're going to have to match. So bring that down. I've got to replace it with this one. All done. Bring that up and then return. That automatically completes, as does that. So that's the reduction of these edges. Well, the next thing that I want to do is to place the edges, and to do that, they've got to be in their correct orbits. So sometimes what I like to do is kind of do one orbit at a time, because at the moment, the pieces, if they're not in the correct orbit, could be in any one of a number of 3 orbits. What did I just say then? Any one of a number of 3. They could be in any of 3 orbits, but if I get one orbit done, then they could only be in another 2, if that makes sense. So if I do that, it's just easier to get the pieces where I need them, rather than just randomly going here and there. So I don't know. I just choose an orbit maybe that's got a couple in there already. Who knows? Here's one, red, white. And there is absolutely no reason to place these pieces at this point. I'm just kind of saying, well, do I have any of them there? Certainly the red, white. I don't reckon, just looking, I don't think any of the other pieces in this orbit are correct. So what I would do is say, all right, well, I've got to get a white purple piece into this orbit. And I know that really any of the other pieces in here do not belong. So all that matters is getting that white purple and placing it. For example, this piece here, this is the orbit that I'm trying to put it into, and here's my white purple piece. So I can say that'll go to there. This piece, which doesn't belong in the orbit, will go to there. They can then swap. Undo, undo. And that purple white, you can see, is now in the orbit that I want. Now, sometimes what you'd like to try and do, so that's all I cared about then, was getting the purple white piece in the orbit. But at the moment, what I might do next is to see if I can get a correct piece. So not only get the purple orange into this orbit, but see if I can take out a piece that belongs to that orbit. What am I talking about? Well, let's find the purple orange first. There it is. Now, for example, let's just say that I want to move it to this orbit over here. I could happily at the moment go to, just following this orbit around. Yeah, so I could take out the yellow orange. Would the yellow orange belong in this orbit where the purple orange is coming from? No. So I would say, what about this one, the pink green? Would that belong in there? No, also not. What's another option? The green grey? Yes. So what I'll do is just turn that green grey over to that position and now swap the green grey and the purple orange. And the point of me doing this is to say, right, well, the green grey is going to land here, which will be in its correct orbit. The purple orange will land here, which will be in its correct orbit. So I'm just trying to get two done at a time here, because obviously that's going to save some moves and some time in doing that. That there. And again, you can see that I could turn the purple orange around if I wanted to. In this case, I might even do that just so I can very clearly see what I've done, what I haven't done. So that's 3 in this orbit already. In fact, I've got a pink grey here as well. So what am I looking for next? Orange grey or pink red? Let's have a look at the orange grey. Orange grey is there, and it's got to go here. Now, first of all, I can see that the pink green will directly swap with it, because that goes in the orbit that the orange grey is currently in. So I just need to figure out a way to swap both of these, and I can see that I can turn them down to this one here, which will do the job. Like that, the orange grey's in, that pink green is also in. I've only got one more to do in this orbit. It's a red pink. That lives there. Now again, I can see that it happens to be swapping with the only piece that does belong in that orbit, which is fantastic, orange yellow. So I've just got to figure out how to do that. And we can go there. That is then in. Let's have a look where we're at. If I follow this around, I can see now I have one complete orbit done. And while I've been at it, I've been sort of doing some pieces on another orbit as well as I can. So I've got a few. Perhaps I would then have a look at this orbit here. Now I know I've just put that out, so it's not really important at the moment that I keep this orbit done. It's just a matter of being able to see what I need to do next. So I'll just maybe do one more here. So for example, this green yellow is sitting here. It needs to go in that orbit. So perhaps I'll turn that around to there. Let's see if I can swap it with something sensible. Blue-grey is a really good one, actually. So the green-yellow belongs there. There's a blue-grey in its position, and if I follow it around, I can see that is the correct orbit for it. So these are definitely the two that I want to swap. It's just a question of exactly how. Which is not always as simple as you might think. Well, for me anyway. Okay, I think we're good now. I think it was the green yellow I was looking at. I've actually forgotten. Was it the green yellow? I think so. So turn that to there. Turn the grey blue to there. Give them a swap. I know the grey blue's good, so that was definitely the right one. So I'm pretty sure the green yellow was also the one I was looking at. So that's got those two, 3 in that orbit. I just continue working through that until they're all done. Now, I was just going to show one other method for dealing with this without jumbling. And at this point, I've got a purple white here and the yellow blue that need to swap orbits. Well, I could go and do a jumbling move and it would just be moving it down to here and swapping. That's fine. The other thing I could do is do a skewb turn. This is what I was talking about at the beginning, where I said the skewb turns sort of substitute for a bit of jumbling, if you like, because just doing that skewb turn now puts the yellow, blue and the purple, white in the same orbit. What that means is that I can basically swap them, swap their positions, if you like, or swap their orbits. So that yellow, blue is going to go to here, the red, yellow go to here, the purple, white will come back there, and that's just done with simple rhombic face turns. And once that's done, undo the skewb turn and everything's okay. So that's placing those edges. Now the last stage is to solve the corners, and to solve the corners I'm going to use the corner piece series, and what I'm doing is looking for initially a corner like this. This is a great corner to demonstrate. The blue, white, red wants to turn around on its rhombic face into its position like that. That's what I want. So that's my first corner, going to my second corner. My third corner is going to be over here. Now, you can just go, I just don't care what that is as long as it's some corner that's not done, or you can attempt to put the correct corner so it's going to place the second one up here. In order to make that happen, firstly, I need the blue, yellow, green corner in this position. Okay, it's over here. Let's just turn it there. The second thing I'm interested in is that the color on the down right face, so the lower face here, is the color that's going to land on the top. So at the moment, yes, that will place, but it will not be correctly oriented. So I've got a choice. I either could kind of see if I could do some setups and move it around to get there. But in this case, I just go, I don't care. I don't care enough. I just want to place this one here. Let's just involve this third corner. I set a corner piece series. What's that? An upturn, a right face. Of course, it's all 180 degree turns. An up prime and a left. Up, bring the right back. Up prime and bring the left back. Of course, when I say up prime, because there are 180 turns, really this is more like a thing that you'd use on a cuboid. But it's better than that because every single turn is 180 degrees. But you can see that has placed that corner. So just the 8 move sequence there. I would go and look for another corner that's in a position like that. But generally I don't find that. So the next thing is to say, can I place a corner there? So, for example, this purple, yellow, orange corner has got to go to there, which means I either want it to be there or there as a setup. Let's have a think. I could try turning it around to here, but I need, if I'm doing it on that face, I need the orange color to be there. Well, that hasn't worked. Let's try turning it to this face. Ah, that's better. Now I've got that yellow color on the face. That is beautifully set up. For this, I would like to put a third piece here. Now, my third piece, green, grey, pink. And the grey is actually this face. So if I can get it, I'd like the grey there. So the first thing is, where's the piece? Where's the corner? It's over here. Let's see how easy it is to get to that position. It's not too hard, but, or is that in fact not in that position yet? Did I go the long way there and I didn't need to? Let's just get my bearings again. Ah, it's got to be there. So let's try. Okay, those two turns, a red then a white. Now I think that magically has landed with that grey colour exactly where I want it. So I should now be able to solve this one and solve this one as well at the same time, and then just undo all those turns in the correct order. So let's give it a whirl. I know this one's going to solve. I'm hoping the grey, pink, green will solve as well. So up, right, up, left, up, right. Oh my giddy aunt, up and left. And you can see that one has solved, and yes, that one has solved as well, which is fantastic. Let's undo these. That was the ones there that I needed to undo, and then this was the last one. So before I know it, I'm actually down to only a few left. Let's see what I've got. That yellow, I'm just having a quick look. There's still none that are automatically in position. So let's see. That won't turn to there. It might turn to this one. No, that's not going to turn to there or there correctly. So I'll abandon that one. Let's have a look at this blue, orange. Can't speak and think at the same time. I don't think that's going to go either, because the orange will come around to here. So that's no good. What about this one, blue, green, yellow, which I want to be in either of these positions. So let's just do a setup there. And again, I think that's not going to turn to either of these. That's a real pain. So it's not the end of the world, because I do want to show how to twist two corners at the end. So I might just end up putting a couple in position to do that. Have I tried them all? I feel like there's one that I didn't try, which might have been this one. No, I did try that one. I think I've tried that one. Although these two, I've got confused here. Maybe I haven't yet tried that one. The green, blue, yellow, which belongs here. Give this one a go first. No, maybe I have tried that. I don't think that's going to work at all. The last one, I'm pretty sure I tried that. Pink, yellow, red. Now, it's not to say that you can't get these into the position you want them. And maybe I'll just demonstrate that now, what I'm talking about. Let's say that I wanted this pink, yellow, red to go to there, to the correct position. So there's a couple of options here. I could do some moves where I move it around the base like this until it is where I want it. That's not terrible, because that's now in the correct position. And I've got a third one here. That's probably what I'd do here. So let's carry that out. Oh no, come on. Don't know why. It sort of locks up going one direction and then it's fine in the other. Again, it's done the same thing there. That's okay. Come on, right, up, and left. I think we're done. Finally, that's in position. Now I've just got to undo these in the correct order, which I have. Does that leave me 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, down to the last 3. Let's have a look. What I'd do here is say, look, that's definitely going to go to that position, but it won't be oriented. Could I potentially put this one over here so that this one correctly orients? Not straight away. So what I would do here, and I'll do this because I know I'm not going to solve, so I will be able to do the twisting of corners at the end. So I'm just going to place the corners into position. Now I might get one of them done, and I'll just have a look here. That's in position, that's in position. I have a feeling one of them did actually solve. Okay, now the last two, you can see this has been twisted anti-clockwise. This has been twisted clockwise. that is totally fine. That's not an issue of a single twisted corner. We took care of that. But imagine, if you will, that I did have a single twisted corner now. What I would have to do is do a turn like that, resolve all these centers, reduce a bunch of edges, replace a bunch. Like, it's just an absolute nightmare. That's why I did it at the beginning. Now, how can I go ahead and twist these two corners? Well, what I want to do, the two corners are going to be the down left and the down right. So if I think about, I've got 1, 2, 3. It's actually these two here that are going to twist. The down left is going to twist clockwise. Now, as I look at it now, I don't actually want that one to twist clockwise. So I would turn this around so it's like that. That's better. That's going to twist clockwise. The down right will twist anti-clockwise. So they are in the correct position. And here's what I want to do. I firstly want to carry out an ordinary corner piece series involving these corners. Oh my goodness, nothing's ordinary on this puzzle. Okay, that's done. Now, at the moment, you see that I've sort of got a left face and a right face. What I want to do next is turn the puzzle so that my left face becomes my right face. So it's kind of like that. And in fact, let's just come back here to get my bearings. That's the three corners, because I'm going to turn it so the left face becomes the right face and then do an L turn. And the reason for that is that if you just keep your eye on the three corners, I want to do an L turn now, which was my right face, to put the third corner there. And now I'm going to do the mirror corner piece series. And what you'll notice is that this, if I do the mirror, this corner is absolutely going to correctly orient. This corner here, I have that light blue sticker on that lower face, which is going to land here, which therefore means this one will also correctly place. So now I do the mirror, which is simply the up face, then the left face, and the up face and the right face. The up face and the left face, and the up face and the right face. Now, of course, I did that left face turn, so I'll undo that. Turn it back around, and they're done. Now, the thing that I didn't run into on this solve was that it is possible to get two swapped corners. And the fix for that is similar to, I can't remember which puzzle it is, but I've had it before. And it's basically this. If you have two swapped corners, you'll notice on a rhombic face, there's only two corners on that face. So if I was to turn that face, it would swap the two corners. It would actually fix the problem. But the issue is that it's also done stuff with the edges. So what I need to then do is turn another face around that same corner, and that has unfixed the problem. And then the third thing is to turn a third face around that corner, which then fixes the problem. Now, what you've done by doing that is you have fixed the problem of the corners, but it's now got 3 cycles of edges all the way through, and you can then take care of that. So that is the fix. It's a pretty easy, straightforward fix. I actually totally forgot that it even happened. If I'd got it, I would have seen it, but there you go. So there's the walkthrough solve of this, to be honest, a wonderful solving puzzle, Skewby Rhombic. Great puzzler's puzzle, solver's puzzle. If only it turned properly from the beginning, that would have been great. As I said, I'd love this to be mass produced. I have not done any Scramble here with jumbling. You can only imagine how awesome that's going to be. You can do that. You can come down and do that. What can we do then? I don't know. Stuff. So, hope you enjoyed this. And as always, thanks for watching.